Okay, hello you guys. So, as you guys know by now, every time I do this, it's because it's hard or it's really not great or like I'm struggling in some way. So, lately I have definitely been in a bit of a stressful situation with like the physical side of a vanity weight era where it's just, I reached a certain point where it's gotten a lot harder, essentially. You could say the journey just took a shit, basically, at this time. And it's really, really hard. And I think it's, certain, let's just say, I think my hormones are taking a back step a little bit. Like it's a little challenging for my system, what I'm currently doing. So I've noticed like I'm having some serotonin symptoms. I'm having some low dopamine symptoms again. Like a lot of things are kind of coming back. A lot of those physical issues that I had in the past, they are like a lot more mild than they used to be, but they still come in occasionally. And I think that this era is still so much more psychological or spiritual than any other era. And I think that part of my struggle at this time, it has to do with avoidance and it has to do with not like pursuing beauty is essentially the opposite of avoidance. So not listening to it. And it's something that I've been observing in other people lately, particularly one of my best friends. She just went through a breakup this month or last month. She's been going through it. And her ex is very avoidant. And I kind of witnessed some of the stuff he did, and it's stuff that I've done before. And it was very like meta to see it from the outside and to see it from another person's perspective. And it's like, on one hand, I was judging him, but on the other hand, I completely understood everything of what he was doing. And on, I guess, my third hand, I knew that it was wrong. I knew it wouldn't work, but not because I'm psychic, but because I've done it before. It doesn't work. I think that avoidance became a huge part of my life for many, many years. I think it may have even preceded the toxic ritualistic for me. Like, I think it goes that deep. And I just don't, I've really struggled with letting it go, I guess. Like I have, but it's kind of like when you just let go of a toxic coping mechanism, it's really hard to just like act like it was fine or like to act like nothing happened, essentially. But I think it was seeing, like kind of witnessing that breakup that made me understand it in a way that I've never seen it before. And I've just been really reflecting on it, and I see a lot of like parallels where there's a lot of like reinforcement of that. There's a lot of people that say you're right for avoiding things, and you know what I mean? Like, it's really encouraged a lot today, and I don't think it's good. And I think I realized it this month, and I'm trying to live without it now. And it's like, oh my God. I didn't realize how much I did this. I didn't realize how often I was doing this. And I know a lot of people think about it in terms of like romantically and stuff, but it's not even just about that. It's like within relationships that aren't romantic too. Friendships, colleague relationships, familial relationships. It goes very deep. And it's something that I have really noticed. And I think throughout a lot of my weight loss journey, I've been trying to retain it in different ways. One of the biggest things I noticed was that I went from my weight being an avoidant factor, or my health, to then my work. So then it became, oh, well, I'm working so much. I can't deal with this. Or I can't deal with your problems because I'm so busy. I'm working so much. And I think pursuing beauty is difficult in so many different ways as somebody, which I will say as somebody who used to be avoidant, because technically I'm not if I'm still doing it. But I'll just say it's a huge no-no. You don't ever do that as an avoidant person, because if you become more beautiful, then more people will talk to you. And one of the craziest things that's been happening to me lately is like kids have been talking to me more, and I don't know what to say to kids. Like I'm in public and they're like with their parents or whatever, and they're like, hi, what's your name? And I'm like, because I'm like really introverted anyways, so I don't know what to do. Like I always get weirded out. But it's also like I'm avoidant in general, or I was. See, I need to stop. I was. But a kid asked me that today, and I was like, my name's Alex. And I was like, it's kind of like, but it's like, I don't want to break a kid's spirit. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like that. But he was so young. He looked like he was like 3 years old or something, like really young. So it's like that kind of age where they're not like, it's giving Taylor Swift 7, like they'll still throw a tantrum in the middle of the store kind of vibe, you know what I mean? So it's just very like natural. And it's just funny because that used to never happen. Which I don't know if I just look like a huge bitch or if it was because I was fatter or whatever. I don't really know. But it's something that's been happening more, and I have to deal. I have to deal. So I talk a little bit more and stuff, or like I try to just, I'm getting through it basically, but it's happened a couple times. Like when a kid is shouting hey at you, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do, So it's like, obviously I'm just living my life and I'm just continuing on with everything, duh. But obviously these types of things are going to keep happening, and there's probably going to be more, grown people talking, and, I don't know how much romantic attention I'd be getting in freaking Alabama, but you never know. You know what I mean? I don't really know. Oh, gosh. But I'm just saying, it's like, I'm violating that. And it's like, it feels like stepping on thin ice. It's scary. And, it's hard to let go of something that I held on to for so many years, something that I felt was safe or I felt made me safer. And similarly to the toxic ritualistic, I've realized recently that it never made me any safer. I never was less hurt through being avoidant. If anything, it was worse. It made it worse because there's a lot of things that I missed out on, or regrets I have, or situations that were escalated or made into bigger issues, that it didn't ever have to be that way. It never had to be as bad as it became. Like if I would have just started talking about conflicts quicker, if I would have been telling people like, I have an issue with you, but that's all a part of avoidance too, is you don't talk about things, or you don't say things. You don't talk about if you're having a problem. You just dip when you're done. You never say like, oh, I'm feeling anxious and I don't know what I'm going to do, or you never tell people things like that because it's very taboo when you're in that mindset. And I've been coming to terms with this. I know it can be hurtful to other people. I know it's bad. I don't need to be lectured about it. But it's like I hadn't seen my cousin since, I don't even know, I think like January. And I'd always, you can always come up with an excuse to not. You can always come up with something. And I think that that's what a lot of avoidant people don't understand. And it's something that I never understood, is like, you'll always find something. You'll always find some reason to not go or to not do something or to not see somebody, because the goalposts will constantly shift. And obviously it has happened a lot with me in dating and stuff like that. And I've kind of had this situationship type of thing going on for a while. And I tried to run from it in September, and I pretty much, like, I immediately knew it was wrong. Like, pretty much instantly. And I went back in 4 days. I'm a recovering avoidant. It wasn't that long. But it's like, it's hard to sit here and like admit, like, I'm really scared of intimacy. I'm really scared of like losing myself in somebody. And it's like, okay, like, duh, it's not like that freaky or that different or like unusual. But I think for me, for some reason, there's so much self-denial in my experience. I don't know if that probably does have to do with the toxic ritualistic thing, because there's just so much self-denial in that. So much. It's so deep. Trust. That I think that's part of why it was so intense. Like I so intensely denied that. And it's like, I was, a level 10 avoidant. It's like, I'm so avoidant, I'll act like I'm clingy to get you to avoid me, which is crazy. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm a strategic avoidant. I'm so avoidant, I can like do a psyop and create it. Like, there's so many ways of sabotaging things that I've done throughout my life that it's like, holy crap, like the shit that I've done. I've been a ghost many times. I'm coming out as a ghost. I've done it many times. And this person, I like him so much. Literally. That's why I can't run. So I don't know if that's like a cheesy, like anybody that's dealt with an avoidant, if that's like a fantasy of theirs, but it's true in this case. Where I like him so much, I can't run. I can't. And it's scary. I don't know what will happen. It's a situationship. It's complicated. It's crazy. It's weird. But again, there's always reasons, right? So as an avoidant, as an ex-avoidant, I can sit here and come up with 1,000 reasons why it can't work. But like with anything, especially being gay, I mean, let's be so real. It's just challenging. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It doesn't mean it can't work. And so I'm sitting here pursuing beauty, breaking the cardinal sin of avoidance on a day-by-day basis. It's just mind-blowing. Terrified of rejection, terrified I'm not good enough for him, terrified of this, terrified of that, terrified he's going to end up with someone else. He'll end up with somebody else that's easier. That's, it goes through my head all the time. He doesn't really like me. And so I want to run because it's easier to run than to deal with the uncertainty. And it's easier to run than to get enmeshed or than to have this perception of losing energy, to have this perception, especially if I'm stressed out and, I'm doing diet culture and I don't have the energy for any of this stuff. It's taking up too much mental bandwidth and it's just too hard. And everybody online, they just say, oh, well, you should just do you. Don't worry about it. You don't need to worry about that now. Well, when? I'm 33 years old. When is the time to grow up? I think dating in your 30s is hard anyways because everybody's pretty busted. But I think when you especially are gay and in your 30s, then it's like double busted. It's really hard. And so it's like I'm sitting here like with all of these crazy anxieties and weirdness and stupid fucking coping mechanisms that never fucking help me. And it's like, he has his too. And I'm supposed to, again, not be avoidant and be like, well, he's got his issues too. Like, somehow this is going to work, right? Hopefully, somehow I can have hope in it, or somehow, and it's like, because it's not just about me. And I think a lot of avoidants get into that where it's all about it's all about me as the avoidant person. And I think a lot of people would not want to hear that, but it's true. It's selfish to be avoidant. It quite literally is. And I understand that now. And so it's like there have been moments when he needs something from me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why does he need that from me? And it's like, oh my God, Alex, like, what the fuck is your problem? Give reassurance. Give it freely. Be open. Don't act like you don't like this guy. You fucking idiot. I'm saying that to myself. 'Cause you fucking do. It's fucking stupid. And I'll say that I think this vanity weight era, it has killed that because it had to. Because it's essentially living in opposition. And it's, as I'm sure you guys know, diet culture, vanity weight era, it's something you live and breathe every minute of every day. Every single decision throughout your day has to do with that. So quite frankly, I've had to completely destroy my avoidance. And now I'm just supposed to pick up and live without it and act like, okay, period. Like as if my whole world wasn't just shattered, ripped open, and replaced in an instant. Like my whole fucking paradigm hasn't just changed. Like my entire lifestyle, like everything I've ever believed and done socially is not just turned upside down. And it's like I'm finding myself wanting to do it again. I'm wanting to avoid. It's like I'm wanting to do it. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I honestly wonder if it's just habit at this point. And it's like I have to break a habit. And I sit here and I think, Alex, no, like, I'm going to the pumpkin patch with my family this weekend. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but the rent and this and that. And I don't know. And oh my gosh. And I don't know if I can do it. And it's like, Alex, just do your fucking work and get it done. And then you're fine. And it's like, oh gosh, just stop. And I think that's what people don't understand is like, avoidance takes over your life if you allow it. It's not just romantic. It takes over everything. And similarly to the toxic ritualistic, it's a lot of work. Sometimes it's more work to avoid. It was more work for me to run from him than to stay. And my dumbass, when I was young, I would have forced it and I would have stayed away. And I hurt myself a lot throughout my life. And, my avoidance was trauma-induced, so it's not fair. But what the fuck ever, I guess, right? I don't want to be a fucking busted millennial dumbass that can't get over the past. I'm not going to be that person. Even if I feel like it's going to take moving mountains, I'm not going to fucking be that person. I'm not doing it. So we're done. Trauma. It's a wrap. is done. I'm 30 fucking 3. It's done. We're done.